Shadow, mi amor, te amo, mi amor, Shadow. Hey, it's Allie, welcome back to my channel. It's the year of the Shadow, baby! New games, new merch. Oh, and I guess the movie came out as well. I have found it very interesting the way people treat the Sonic movies since the first one came out. Like, especially for Sonic fans, you either love it or you hate it. Guess which camp I'm in. Yes. I'll give you a hint. I'm wearing the exact same thing, accessories and all, that I wore yesterday when I went to go see the movie. And I'll give you another hint. I saw this movie, cried twice, and despite the fact that Sonic videos notoriously do not do well on this channel, I still have to talk about it today or otherwise I will explode. But there's also so much lore to Shadow the Hedgehog. And you know what? If you're watching this video wondering whether or not you should go see the movie, I'm here to tell you that yes, you absolutely should, but also to give you a comprehensive, let's be honest, a yapatastic review of the movie. So hey, if at any time you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe because I make videos like this all the time, much to the detriment of this channel. And comment down below who your favorite Sonic character is. It could be anyone from any of the games, any of the comic runs, any character. And also put down your guess for my favorite character. Can you guess who it is? Yeah, it's Charmy the Bee. How did you know? Also, side note, we are so close to 10K, and it'd be really cool if we hit 10K before the end of the year. So hey, if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. You want to be a part of the club. I am also planning to do a stream, a nice 10K viewer stream where we play games and we yap and we chat and everything. So if that interests you, hey, subscribe and join the Yap family. The Yap family today. Let's jump into it. Okay, so I'm going to split this video up into 3 parts to somehow contain all of this going on. The first part will be a non-spoiler review. The second part will be a Shadow lore spoiler review, but not explaining how they did it in the movie. So if you don't know anything about the Shadow lore, but you want to know about it before you go watch this movie, the second part will be for you, but I will not spoil the movie or how they handle Shadow's lore. And the last part of this video, of course, will be me yapping and crying and yapping and crying. So let's jump into it. So this movie is going to drive me insane. I will be seeing it another 3 times in the theater, and I will be sitting here patiently waiting for the box set Blu-ray DVDs to come out. I don't care how much it costs. I will be buying it. I am a Sonic whale. If you don't know what a whale is, it is essentially a person, usually in gacha games, a person who doesn't care how much anything costs. They will just continuously spend money on whatever, whether it be a game, a character, whatever. They will just continuously spend money on it. They don't really care how much things cost. That's me, but like with Sonic. So I went to a fan screening of this movie, so I saw it like a day earlier. It wasn't like a premiere or anything. I'm not there yet, though. Sega, if you're out there. If you're out there, baby girl, please, I love Sonic so much, please. But I ended up getting tickets to see this in 4DX on accident. I did not know it was 4DX. That's the one where the seats go like this. And oh my god, the Shadow and Sonic fights, like this the entire fucking time, and it was fun as hell. I got wet. Pause. But I did get wet because they were spraying water at you. It's fun, especially for you and a kid to like go to. If you don't like being jostled around, just get the recliner seats, babe. It's not worth it to be jostled around like that. I would not recommend this to like people with their parents who want to go see this. Like, you don't want grandma running around like this. She barely understands what's going on in the movie to begin with. You don't want her doing all of this shit, okay? Also, again, you will get wet. Other than that, this movie is just so well made. I gushed about this in the trailer video I made for the Sonic movie, but the animations, oh my god, the animations are so good. It's one of those things where we're bringing back real battles now. like I feel like in a lot of shonen anime and just a lot of battle shows or whatever in general, like recently we have been bringing back fight choreography. Like, it's not just a bunch of shaky cam and you can't really tell what the fuck is going on. Like, nowadays it's actual like fight choreography. And of course you have to. You can't have Keanu Reeves and not have good fight choreography. Like, come on now. But the fight choreography was amazing. I will say in terms of plot, the pacing is very fast in the beginning. Like, very fast. This movie was definitely made for people who already love Sonic. Definitely. So if you're new to this and you don't know anything about Shadow lore, thank you for watching this video because I will help you in the next section. But if you are just like, you want to go into this completely blind and you know nothing about Shadow lore, good luck. I actually genuinely want to take somebody into this movie who doesn't know anything about Shadow lore and see if they're confused by anything. Because the first half of this movie, breakneck pace. Like, almost to a detriment. Like, breakneck pace. Like, oh, this character's here now. Oh, this character's no longer here now. Like, all of these other things that I think maybe we could have slowed down. Like, this movie has the shortest runtime, I think, out of all the other ones. And considering how much money they spent on, like, the animations and animators for this, I can understand why. But also, I feel like maybe we could have paid the extras a little bit more to have a conversation with Sonic about Shadow and, like, what's going on. Because it's just, like, one like, flashback. Oh, girl, am I dyslexic? One flashback to explain Shadow's lore, and you kind of have to infer the rest of it, which I will get to in the, like, spoiler section, but you kind of have to infer the rest of it, and if you don't already know about Shadow's lore, that might confuse you a little bit. But other than that, though, the last 30 minutes of this movie took it from, like, a 7 to, like, a 9.5. I'm not joking. The last 30 minutes of this movie, like, there's a certain scene that happens, and then after that, a flip is switched, where the rest of the fucking movie is balls to the walls, like, fucking insane. Like, it's fan service, but in the best, I mean, the whole movie is fan service, but it's, like, fan service in the best way possible. And especially, like, there are certain things where, if you're a Sonic fan, and you already know the Sonic lore, then you're gonna go into this movie with a lot of questions in the first half. You're gonna be like, and then towards the end of it, you're gonna be like, oh, like, a lot of the stuff that I mentioned as being a concern for a lot of Sonic fans in my trailer video, they handled really, really well. Now, of course, last thing is that this is a kid's movie, and Sonic has been known in the first 2 movies to be very, very quippy, sometimes to a lot of people's annoyance. Personally, for me, I believe that Sonic is fine. I actually like the quips, especially in this movie. I think they, like, really did really well with the quips. There were a lot of good jokes. You're gonna have to suspend your disbelief a little, okay? This is like a PG kids movie. It's not even like PG-13 kids. So there's gonna be a lot of times in here where it's a little handholdy. Honestly, not as much as I thought it would be, but it's gonna be a little handholdy at times, which is fine to me. If you suspend your disbelief and you go into this genuinely just wanting to have a good time, you're going to have a good time. Do not let the internet ruin this for you. Speaking of, have y'all seen the new Superman trailer? It looks great, by the way. Amazing, phenomenal. As a newly found, like, I was gonna say newfound Christian. It's like that, but with Superman. Like, I used to hate Superman, and now I'm like, I love Superman. Anyway, a different story for a different day. I bring him up because this trailer came out and all the Snyderverse fans are like, I hate this Superman. Why is he so colorful? Why is he for kids? The comic book superhero? Yeah, so that's what I mean when I say don't let the internet ruin this for you. People are genuinely mad that these movies are fun. Obviously, the Superman movie isn't out yet, but the movie looks a lot more fun, a lot more colorful, a lot more comic booky than, like, the gritty, dark, like, a bunch of superheroes, which he has ruined Superman in the last couple of years. Oh, who said that? Who said that? I'm just saying. Don't let people ruin that for you. It was the same type of thing with Sonic, where people were like, Sonic is supposed to be cool. He's not supposed to be silly and funny and goofy. Like, yes, he is, though. Like, we can do both. We can do both. We can have cool, chill Sonic, like we have in the games, and we can have silly, goofy Sonic. And I think movie Sonic does that, like, really well. I think that's fine. It's also for the age demographic that it's aimed at. Also, Sonic goes through a lot of character development in this movie. Again, no spoilers for this section, but he goes through a lot of character development in this movie that would lead him down the path to become the cool Sonic that y'all want so fucking badly. Anyway, go see this movie. I highly suggest it. It's gonna be a fun ride no matter what. It's not the necessarily, like, turn your brain off type of fun, but it's the relax. It's the you don't have to think too hard. It's the sit down, grab some popcorn, and enjoy this fucking movie type of movie, okay? You don't gotta think too hard. I think that's great for the end of the year, considering everything that's been going on this year, to just go watch a fun movie, okay?
Before we end this section, there's something else that I want to say. Why should you care? Why should you care about this movie? After all, it's another one of those live action remakes. There's another one out at the same time. Why would you care? Well, let me tell you, along with this movie being actually, good, I think that it is very, very important to stress how much love and care was put into this movie. And that's not to say, like, we're going to use Mufasa for comparison here just because they both came out at the same time. That's not to say that the people who did Mufasa, the people who did the music, the people who did the animation didn't care about what they were making. However, I think we have to look at the reasons why these things were made and then how they get made afterwards. So, for example, obviously, both of these things were made for the sake of money, moolah, cash, monies. But I think there's a different underlying for people who are actually making the movie, like the actual filmmakers, the actual animators who are making these two movies. I feel like the difference with Sonic is that this is clearly made not only as like a love letter to Sonic fans, but also as a way to get other people into the Sonic franchise. Sonic has been stagnant for a long time. A lot of people know that. This year for Sonic has been really, really big for a lot of people. And there are a lot of people out there who want to get into Sonic, who maybe thought of it as like cringe as a kid, or who are kids now who want to get into it. And there isn't as much Sonic media out right now as there was when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, there was the comics, there was the TV show, there were all the games that were coming out. Like every year there seemed to be a new Sonic game, for better or for worse. Every year there was a new Sonic game coming out. And so I think that having something like this that is such a love letter to the passion that people have for Sonic, because getting people who worked on previous Sonic titles, getting people who worked on fandom like Sonic fan works is such a big deal that I think not a lot of people are talking about, other than the fact that like Keanu Reeves is voicing Shadow and like Jim Carrey and all these other stuff. Like the fact that like people who are so passionate are the ones working on this. Like again, not to say that the people who worked on Mufasa weren't passionate about it, but I have to look at the reason why Mufasa was made. Was Mufasa made because a lot of people were out there like, oh my god, I wonder how Mufasa and Scar became brothers? Was anybody really asking that question? Was anybody really asking that question? And does this get more kids into The Lion King? I'm pretty sure these kids were already into The Lion King if you're taking them to go see this movie. It's not like Moana 2, whereas like Moana 2 I think was supposed to be a TV show and it just ended up not being a TV show, and so that's the reason why it is the way that it is. And there's a lot of other things wrong with Moana 2, but like that's another story for another day. But at least with that, you know that okay, the kids who liked Moana, who loved Moana, are probably at least gonna go see the second one, whether or not it's good, right? But this Mufasa movie, I do not understand who it was made for. Like the only reason why people tolerated the first one and why the first one did so well, number one, is because it's a remake of a beloved movie, right? But also the fact that Beyonce and Lin-Manuel Miranda were doing the like rescoring of this movie, and Beyonce came out with an entire album, and that album bangs. If you ever watch the like album movie for it, I'm getting off track, but like it's good. It's like really, really good. And you can tell that like the people who made the movie and who made the score, especially for the score, the voice acting, and this original album, like had so much passion for the original and what it means, especially Beyonce's album. Oh my god, I could write a whole dissertation about that. But especially Beyonce's album means so much, and you can tell that it means so much, and what The Lion King means for people and black people and all this other stuff. It's the same way with the Sonic movie, right? You can just tell that like this is a love letter to these people. It's meant to show the love and the passion that Sonic fans have for this franchise, despite its ups and downs and everything in between. And so anyway, I say all this to say, to end off this section, you should absolutely go see this movie. Okay, bye. Oh, and if you're wondering why I sound so good right now, it's because my old microphone died. And so was forced to get a new microphone in the middle of editing this video. So everyone say thank you, new microphone. I'm so broke, guys.
Okay, so let's talk about Shadow lore. So I'm gonna do a brief as it can be, recap of the Shadow lore for those of you who want to go into this movie with no spoilers of the movie itself, but you do want to know about Shadow's lore so you can see how they handle it in the movie, okay? Come here, come closer. I love you. We're gonna get through this together. Oh my god, my makeup looks so good today. I'm bringing back the whiteboard. We're bringing it back. Look at them. All right, at the top we have Gerald Robotnik. There's Shadow, and there's Maria. Gerald Robotnik is Maria Robotnik's grandfather, or I guess Maria is Gerald Robotnik's granddaughter. And Shadow was an experiment made by Gerald. Gerald Robotnik is a scientist aboard the Space Colony Ark, a space station hovering over Earth run by Gunn, which is a subsect of the US military, I guess. And Gunn hired a bunch of scientists to work on a bunch of innovative things while up in this space station, right? Gerald Robotnik has a granddaughter named Maria, and Maria, it's snowing outside. Oh, that's pretty. Anyway, Maria is terminally ill. She has this condition, I think there's a fictional name for it, I don't know. She has a condition that makes it basically impossible for her to live on Earth. Being in the space station is the only thing that keeps her even remotely healthy, so she lives up on the Space Colony Ark. Gerald Robotnik has two scientific things that he makes while he's on here. Well, he made a lot of things, but the two important things is, number one, this his first attempt at creating the ultimate life form, which is this giant lizard thing he's important to the games, but not important in the movie. I think there's like a call to him in the movie, but there's not really anything going on there. Okay, so the lizard thing, round 1 didn't really work out. Round 2, he made Shadow. Okay, and Shadow works. He's the ultimate life form per se, but it doesn't really help Maria's case at all. Like, there's nothing to do. Like, they run a bunch of tests on Shadow constantly because they're trying to figure out how to probably extract his essence so that they can help Maria or just help everybody. Anyway, cue What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish. At some point, I guess, okay, this is the part for me, like, y'all feel free to fill in the blanks below. Something happens and Gunn decides that they're shutting down the Ark by force. All the scientists up there are pretty upset about it. And if you don't go with the gun soldiers, you will die. Yeah. So they arrest Dr. Robotnik. They arrest him. I don't really know why. It's not important. But they arrest him. And in fleeing this arc, Maria and Shadow make it to an escape pod, but the gun soldiers have them cornered. Maria shoves Shadow into an escape pod before any harm can come to him. And one of the gun soldiers shoots Maria. Why? I don't know. I don't know why he did that. He must hate kids or something, because I really don't know why he did that. Anyway, Maria is now dead. Shadow watched her die, couldn't do anything about it. He gets jettisoned to Earth where you think he would be free, but no, eventually Gunn finds him and puts him in stasis for 50 years. To be woken up by Ivo Robotnik, Gerald Robotnik's great grandchild, Ivo Robotnik, the Robotnik we know and love. When he finds Shadow, he finds that his grandpa did all this, wakes him up, and thus begins Shadow's quest for revenge against Gunn and the U.S. government. Rightly so. Who said that? Who said that? I don't know who said that. Anyway, the whole Sonic Adventure 2, which is the game this takes place in, is everybody trying to convince, and by everybody, I mean Amy Rose the Hedgehog, because she's amazing, convincing Shadow to look deep within his heart and ask himself, would Maria really want this? And the answer is no, of course not. She was like, oh, we're going to love Earth, and Earth is going to be so great, and, we got to protect the humans on Earth, and blah, 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 blah. Shadow remembers this. He realizes this. He goes to stop the Ark, but Gerald Robotnik has enacted this safe plan because he's pretty upset that Gunn has killed his granddaughter. Again, rightly so. Who said that? So he's just going to destroy all of Earth. He's going to crash the space colony Ark into Earth, blow it all up, everything. It's just, everything's dying. Anyway, this is when Sonic and Shadow go supersonic. They stop all of the stuff going on in space, and Shadow sacrifices himself by jettisoning the Ark away from Earth so that it doesn't, kill everybody, I guess. And Shadow is gone. Or is he? Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, that is Sonic Adventure 2. That is the story of Shadow. Of course, there is more to it. Like something I do have to explain because of an Easter egg in the movie that I think is an Easter egg. I actually don't know. They don't directly talk about it, but I think it's an Easter egg, so I'm going to mention it here. Black Doom. So it gets retconned later, like I think 2 games later in Shadow the Hedgehog, the game. That Shadow actually is part of this alien demon life force named Black Doom. This guy named Black Doom helped Gerald Robotnik make Shadow by giving him some of his essence, I guess. I don't really know there. So not only is Shadow the ultimate life form, he's also like half demon alien thing. And that is very important for the later games. As we know, I haven't finished Sonic X Shadow Generations, but we're getting there. It's important for that. It's important for his character, but it was retconned later. Some people like it, some people hate it. I think it's cool. I'll say it. I think Shadow the Hedgehog is cool. Anyway, that is like an Easter egg in the movie, I think. I could be dead wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's an Easter egg in the movie, so just keep that in mind as you're watching the movie. Anyway, that's all you need to know about the Shadow lore before you go into this movie. There are other videos out there that go more in depth, but in terms of like baseline stuff, and of course there's more after Shadow the Hedgehog. There's an entire plot in Sonic Heroes about Shadow that I can't get into right now. It's not important to the movie. However, if you want me to talk about it one day, I can. If you want me to do a full Shadow lore video, I will do that. In fact, it only takes one person. Will you be that person in the comments to tell me to do it? Because I'll do it. If just one person. If one person tells me to do it, I will do it. Now, how did this movie adaptation hold up to the games? Well, Like I said, I cried twice. One of the major things I said in my trailer video review, whatever the fuck video I made about the trailer for this movie, I want more Maria and Shadow moments. That was like the main thing that I wanted out of this movie, and boy, howdy did I fucking get it. I win. I always win. I never lose. So Shadow and Maria have such great moments. The fact that we actually get to see Shadow and Maria actually bonding on this arc, actually getting to be the siblings that they are, is insane to me. It's something that I've always wanted, and I finally got it. Of course, that made it hurt more when she died, which they did not shoot her, by the way, in case you were wondering. It's a PG movie. They're not gonna shoot a kid point blank, okay? The soldier ends up shooting one of the barrels because another soldier went to go stop it. He also comes up later. He's also dead. Crazy. We'll get to all that later. And the barrels explode, and that's what kills Maria. Also, Gerald Robotnik being alive. Let's talk about that. That was probably one of the biggest concerns I think I and a lot of Sonic fans had about this movie, is the fact that Gerald Robotnik is alive. So much to the point where I was coping real hard and thought he was a hologram. It actually made a lot of sense for Gerald Robotnik to be alive. It actually made a lot of sense for our Robotnik, Ivo Robotnik, to be, like, I guess, manipulated by Gerald Robotnik to this. In the games, like, Ivo is just like, oh, there's this cool space colony arc thing. I'm just gonna take it over and use it because it's a weapon that my grandfather made, so I'm just gonna use it. And then he finds out later in the movie, or in the game, rather, that the arc is actually set to destroy itself and Earth, and obviously Ivo doesn't want that because he wants to rule Earth, so he ends up helping out in the end, right? In the movie, he doesn't figure all that out. We probably wouldn't have time for him to figure all that out. So instead, they just made Gerald Robotnik alive. It all happens. It actually is really good for the, like, third act twist, because I said that the third act twist was going to be Ivo Robotnik against Sonic. It actually ended up being Gerald Robotnik against Ivo, which worked out so well, because this entire movie, like, Jim Carrey, I say Jim Carrey like that's gonna matter, because they both play the same person. Like, it was really good. They both played, Jim Carrey played both Ivo and Gerald Robotnik. Anyway, Ivo Robotnik, this entire movie has been like, oh, are you really my family? Like, this whole movie's through line is about family, right? And Ivo is really happy that he has some type of kin because he's been alone this entire time. Like, that's his little character arc, right? Or so he thinks, because he has Dr. Stone. Because he has Agent Stone. Agent Stone is right there. Don't worry, we'll get to them later. So this entire movie, Ivo is, reconnecting with his grandfather, at least he thinks that he is. And if you already know the Sonic lore, again, this is me wanting to take somebody who doesn't know the Shadow lore into this movie to see if they really get it or not. Ivo Robotnik being like the twist villain in the end, like, works, because I already know the lore. And I'm, like, wondering if that's going to work for somebody who doesn't know the Shadow lore. I might have to drag my friend to this movie. Because he betrays Ivo in the end because he wants to destroy Earth and himself. Crazy line, by the way. He was like, yeah, we're going to destroy Earth and myself and ourselves. Here, we're killing, everybody's dead. We're all dying. And Ivo Robotnik's like, whoa. And also there's a part during this scene where Ivo is like, we could rule together, like you and I, like grandfather, grandchild, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you're no Maria. Like, I audibly gasped. Like, the whole theater audibly gasped. Like, I was sitting here thinking that, like, the Eggmans were going to be the most annoying part of this movie because it's the most children's gaggy part of the movie, right? And it's blocking the part to get the Shadow. But the fact that at the end of it, the betrayal that Ivo does is, like, you know what's gonna happen because if you know the story, you know what's going to happen. But, oh my god. And, like, actually feeling for Eggman in that moment was something, I was not expecting. I was not expecting to feel for Ivo Robotnik in that moment. And it was, you're no Maria? Oh, Tumblr's gonna have a field day. They're going to have a fucking field day. Also, very important to me, I skipped over when talking about Shadow and Maria, is that Shadow is toted as a child in this. Because Sonic and friends are also toted as children in this, right? They are kids. They are to be protected. Like, they are like elementary school, middle school age kids, which makes sense because that's the demographic of this movie, that it's like aimed towards that like elementary school, middle school age child. So the fact that Shadow is also a kid, they literally outright say in the flashback right before Maria dies, don't shoot at them. Those are children. Those are children. They are children. Not, that's a child. They are children. Talking about both Shadow and Maria. And if I cry, I'm not gonna cry again. I'm not. Okay, so the whole thing about Black Doom, if you're wondering. So the thing that they also changed about Shadow's backstory is that he came from a comet. He came from a comet and crash landed on Earth. that was giving Black Doom. Even the little comment itself looked a lot like Black Doom. So I think they're setting up like a little bit of something later on about Black Doom or something, because that would actually make a lot of sense if, like, instead of Joe Robotnik making Shadow, because at first I was like, ugh, but I liked it better when Joe Robotnik actually made Shadow, because he actually cared for him, like, as a child and, like, all this stuff and stuff. But I think this actually works a lot better, that, oh, this was like a meteor that crashed onto Earth and it had Shadow in it, because then we can set up Black Doom a lot more seamlessly through that. So I think they don't mention Black Doom at all throughout the rest of this movie. And so I'd like to think that that was the, like, little Easter egg to Black Doom if you were, like, really Sonic pilled like me. So Team Sonic did really well in this. Sonic's character development, like I mentioned earlier, really, really good. That flip that switch when Tom got hurt. Oh, the, like, everything after Tom getting hurt in this movie was, oh, the fact that some of y'all thought Tom was gonna die, like, actually for real gonna die. Now, I'm not gonna lie, they had me on the edge of my seat. I was like, are they actually gonna kill off Tom? Because he wasn't waking up, and I was like, oh, are they actually gonna kill off Tom? No, they're not gonna kill off Tom. Come on now. Come on. Did I have any doubt in my mind? Anyway, Tom gets hurt, right, by Shadow, and Sonic, like, loses it, and I was like, oh, the flavors. Of the flavors, yes. And from then on, the rest of the movie, oh girl, I was seated, I was in the locked in position. You know, the locked in position where you, that was me towards the end of this movie in a 4DX chair that's going like. That's what 4DX does to a motherfucker. But Sonic bullying his way into becoming Super Sonic so then he can fight Shadow, and then Shadow force punching the Chaos Emeralds out of him, and then both of them becoming super... and then them fighting the fight choreography, and then them coming together. Live and learn. Sonic having a heart-to-heart with Shadow about Maria. Oh, the whole stars moment. Oh, the little shot of both of them on the moon, and, like, you could see Earth in the back. Oh, Tumblr is gonna have a field day. They're gonna have a field day with this one. And of course, like I said, the fight choreography was so good. And then when they teamed up together to fight the robots, that was God, it just was so cool. Shadow did that little ring thing. What the hell was that? Was that another Black Doom reference? Because what the fuck was that? Like, okay, all right. And also the Dr. Stone. I keep saying Dr. Stone. Okay, Senku. The Agent Stone message at the end there. Oh, which leads me to my next thing is, like, where could they go from here, right? Where can they go from here? So we have the post-credit scene, or the mid-credit scene, or, like, whatever, which is Metal Sonic. First of all, Metal Sonic. Oh, I was not expecting Metal Sonic. Out of all the characters I expected to show up, Metal Sonic was not one of them. So to those of you who had that on your bingo cards, good for you. Metal Sonic comes out, and there's multiple Metal Sonics. LS Mark, I watched his review video, and he said that maybe it's like a contingency plan that Robotnik had in place in case anything ever happened to him. I like that idea. Like, all the quills that he had been, like, collecting from Sonic, like, from the last couple of movies, he's been using to, like, build these robots. Like, that would be really cool. And then, of course, Amy shows up. Amy shows My girl Amy, she looked so good. People were like, why does she have the cloak on? Number one, she's probably been living in hiding this entire time. Number two, did you forget my girl has telekinesis? Did y'all forget my girl has telekinesis? I will be on loop. I need a 3D HD version of that, like, credit scene. And then, of course, the post credit scene, which is Shadow being alive, which some people were like, that kind of demeans the whole thing, because the whole thing is like, oh, is Shadow alive? And you find out in the next game that, oh, he's alive. And that leads into the entire, like, plot of Sonic Heroes with Shadow, Team Dark's, like, plot. Anyway, so where do we go from here? Personally, for me, I think that we are moving away from the humans as much. Think about, like, Season 3 Sonic X, where, like, I don't think they're going to go into space because they already have to pay so much for the animations of these hedgehogs. I don't think we're going into space anytime soon. I don't think we're going to be on Mobius anytime soon. That, like, there would be no point to being a live-action Sonic movie if there weren't any humans in it, because that's the whole point. I do think that there's going to be more of a separation between the humans and Sonic, because this movie definitely did a really good job of transitioning into this mostly being about humans in the Sonic world, or, like, rather humans dealing with Sonic plots rather than Sonic dealing with a human plot, which was the first, like, movie. So I think from here on, we're probably not going to get Jim Carrey again. I would say, listen, hear me out, Agent Stone. Agent Stone, scorned, depressed lover, takes over as being the next Robotnik. Think about it. And before y'all get on my case, because apparently y'all don't know how to act, that's why the first video of the new year is going to be about fandom etiquette, because some of y'all in my last video about JVic, Jesus. But just because I ship them, and just because the voice actor, okay, also ships them, the voice actor, or the actor in this case, just because he ships them does not mean that it's canon. No. But what it does mean is that I didn't just pull this shit out of my ass, okay? Like, even if I did, fan fiction exists. But like, we'll talk about that later. Y'all ain't off the hook yet. We'll talk about that next year. But anyway, I think that'd be really cool for Agent Stone to be the next Eggman. He's such a phenomenal actor. He did such a good job. It would make so much sense for him to be that. And then, of course, if you want to bring back actual Robotnik later on, if Jim Carrey wants to reprise the role or get a whole new character or like whatever, I think that'd be really cool. I think a Sonic Heroes movie would be interesting, but maybe a little bit too much, because that's a lot of characters. That's the thing about Sonic that makes you wonder if this would last long in a 3D realistic format, because obviously the budget just keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up and up with all of the like celebrity voice actors that they get to like voice characters, and then also the fact that you have to animate all of these characters as well. So if we get a Sonic Heroes movie, I don't know how the fuck that's gonna happen. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think the smart idea would be to transition into something that's a little bit more like 2D looking, like an actual animated movie. Not that that necessarily means cheaper, but it means like you don't have to worry about trying to fit the characters into the world and make it look nice. I think honestly it would be like a little bit cheaper. Anyway, I think that would be like a way later in the future, because Sonic 4 has already been confirmed. So anyway, I also think Agent Stone would be a really good Eggman, because he's silly. Like, he's obviously, Eggman was silly as well, but he's the type of silly where he's not that threatening. Whereas like Eggman was like actively threatening throughout this entire trilogy. I keep saying Dr. Stone, oh my god. Agent Stone would be the type of Eggman that you see throughout like the earlier games. That's kind of like Team Rocket, we're blasting off again. Like, it's that banter, you know, like the Sonic X Eggman, where by the end of Sonic X, Eggman is like, no, we have this type of banter, you and I, like this back and forth that like I can't really live without you. Like if you leave, like that's kind of it. So I kind of need you to live so I can keep doing my thing. Like, I'm not actively trying to rule the world right now, right? Like, really, I just love the little banter that we got going on, right? So I feel like that type of Dr. Eggman would fit really well with Agent Stone, because he doesn't really want to hurt any of the like the little creatures, you know? But like he still wants to, you know, take over the world in Eggman's name. Anyway, this movie was great. I will see it again in theaters. Shadow is my little meow meow. He's my little meow meow, and I love him so much. Shadow te amo! And thank you to every animator, and of course Keanu Reeves, for bringing Shadow to life. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you did watch this yap session, like true yap session all the way to the end, thank you. You are a real one. This is probably going to be my last video of the year. I might do a stream, especially if we reach 10K. Tell your friends to subscribe so we can reach 10K by the end of the year. That'd be so much fun. And I'll do a 10K stream no matter what, but it would be cool if we get to do it towards the end of the year, where we will probably talk about our flops and bops of the year. I want to send out a little form for everyone to fill out, because that was another video idea I had, but I'm not gonna have time to make it a full video. So I think it'd be fun to do it in live stream before the year ends, to talk about our bops and flops of the year, shows, movies, music, all of that, what we're looking forward to in the next year, up and coming videos. I think obviously the fandom etiquette video is going to be the first video I do next year, and then I think it's going to be My Hero Academia, because that ending anyway. Yeah, so if there's any type of video that you would want me to make, or talk about, anything you want me to make or talk about, let me know down in the comments. I might open up the suggestion form again. I used to have a suggestion form and then I got rid of it. But I might open it up again for you guys. Thank you so much. So much. If we reach 10K by the time this video comes out, thank you so much for 10K. I'm so happy we created this little community of like us that we just like to yap here. We just like to yap and have fun and talk about the things that we love. So thank you so much for that. Like, take care of yourselves, take care of others, have a great rest of the year. Don't be afraid to yap about the things that you enjoy. And hey, I will see you next year. Love and peace.